Welcome to all of you who are here to explore women remaking the world. We want to invite you into sacred space with us. So if you'll just sit quietly in whatever way is comfortable for you, what is going on in your life, just let it breathe away. Breathe it over to the side. You can pick it up later. We're gathered here in the sacred ground of sovereignty, joy, generosity, love, and insight. Let that breath move you into that physical body, anchoring in the body, energizing it. Breath moving right down the midline, out through the soles of your feet, creating roots deep down into Mother Earth, where you are held, fed, and nurtured, and where your roots intertwined with other sisters who sit in similar states of clarity and love and wishes for what will be. And then sense the energy coming through the sun, totally surrounding, cocooning you, energizing you in its way, allowing you to grow and flourish. And get a sense of you being with us here in this circle, and a circle beyond what we even know. Here, to listen, to consider what might be our next steps. So welcome. We are prepared to hold you and invite you into our circle. And so it is. So I want to welcome you. I'm Sharon Raji Maynard. I'm the space holder for the 2012 Women's Grassroots Congress and co-weaving of the Sacred Ground Collective. We are coming together to host Women Remaking the World. In 2012, during the political season, no candidate was gathering women to ask what they thought or what they wanted. In other countries, women were gathering, they were creating organizations, they were standing together. So I was grumbling, no candidate here in the United States was gathering women. And from my work and my perspective, women were key. So as I grumbled, my spiritual team, whom I'd been working with from Beyond Earth for many, many years, kind of said to me, what about you? What about you doing it? Put up or shut up was kind of the thought. So therefore I said, of course, okay, I will. And I put out a call to women for a Women's Grassroots Congress. We would do it ourselves. An amazing group of 40 women gathered in Seattle over a weekend. They pondered what values they would have as the foundation from which our country would emerge, a country beneficial for their children and for their great-grandchildren. And so they powerfully set those values in place. And you'll see them as a download with this video. Then they did this. They made a declaration and they said, we, the women of the United States Grassroots Congress, commit to the values described herein as the firm foundation from which our country evolves now and for all future generations. Powerfully, deeply, their declarations were planted as powerful seeds into the earth. Gaia has held them with love and warmth and nourishment. As with all seeds, They put down roots, and they have sent up tender plants up out of the mother. Well, 2018, last September, I heard the call for another gathering of women, another women's grassroots type event, and with hesitancy spoke the idea into the circle of 6 women who were designing the Sacred Ground Collective community. Some had been at the 2012 Congress, and without hesitation, they all said, of course we will. And here we are today. These women and others who joined us have worked for the last 10 months, designing, creating, evaluating what has become Women Remaking the World. And that includes women who have projects, who are looking at projects, how to make a difference in their community, and those who are remaking their own personal world, their own life, which is, of course, happening so many. Over those past 12 months, these women gathered weekly to listen to the grand voice of this project, a project that would make it possible for a woman to hear a call to create and be supported as she followed that call. There was no way that we could have imagined where we are today. We were not motivated by the COVID virus or by Black Lives Matter. We listened to an idea, a dream, and we said, yes, of course. And here we are with situations impacting our country and the entire world in ways, unprecedented ways. In today's world, we cannot pretend that all is well. Now, just as in 2012, my game board says, souls in female bodies are the key to changing the world. Women are the ones who have the vision, the knowing, the expansive sense of inclusion to bring the entire families together in the diverse expressions of good. They are the ones who are intended to design the culture, set the policies, bring forth the structures that reflect the values and love they have for all life. What does that mean for you? For the ideas you have, for the contributions you want to make, for the pieces you sense that are missing, for the life changes that are calling you to move, to quit your job, to change your relationship. Because women are key, and you are one of us, I want you to just take a moment and write down what you are sensing. What are you being drawn to? What are you visioning? Just write that down, because women are the key. You are invaluable. We at the Women's Remaking the World, we are a team of teachers and creators with you, and we know that deeply. You are invaluable. Thank you for being here. I want you to be with that dream. And I'm going to turn you over to the next teacher of this project, Cinda Lonsway. Blessings.
Thank you, Sharon. So we've just written down our dreams for a future where we are participating in it, where we are part of it, where our values matter. So what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to take a moment and close your eyes and sit with what you've written down. Really, truly own what a world would be like, your personal world would be like if you could manifest this reality. So sit there with your eyes closed, visualizing a future that is unique to you, where this is your reality, where you have brought into this space, this dream, this possibility. What would it look like? What would it feel like? What would it be like? Who would you be doing it with? Who would you be surrounding yourself with? Think about this dream. Think about this idea. Think about this possibility as if it is really happening. Own it, feel it, experience it now with your eyes closed. And as you are sitting here in this moment and in this space, and you are recognizing what this reality might be like for you, scan your body and see where there might be tension or resistance or self-doubt. Recognize where the fear is creeping up. And know that sometimes the bigger the resistance, the more important the work is. The resistance actually can tell us that we are on the right path. So my intention for you today in this moment is to recognize that your dreams matter, your ideas matter, your purpose matters. And to not let the fear or the resistance or the insecurities or your unworthiness to creep up. So as you come back into this space and into our circle, I want you to open your eyes and take a moment to write down what that resistance looked like. What did it feel like? When did it present itself, and where within your body was it stored? But I also want you to sit in the knowing that this idea, this concept, this purpose chose you. It chose you for a reason. And with that, I hope that you would experience and recognize in a way that you are the chosen one. So with that, I'd like to pass the baton over to Komal and have her share with you a story about her own resistance and how she overcame it. Thank you.
Thank you, Cinda. I'm Komal. I'm a psychotherapist and a seamstress. And that for me, 17 years back, was a dream as well the biggest obstacle. How did I see myself? Here I was, this amazingly trained, sensitive, intelligent counselor and psychotherapist with a dream that I would have a counseling room full of people who wanted to be healed and wanted to change their lives through my facilitations. It was a lot about my vision of myself as a psychotherapist. And then there I was making skirts also, designing them, selling them. Nothing seemed to be about me. I had this dream of being something and someone, making an impact on the world. But the only thing that I heard from everywhere was, oh, you need to do this to grow your business. You need to sell yourself as a psychotherapist. You need to do exhibitions. You need to do so many things came my way, and I did a lot of them. But I found nothing was working. Nothing was satisfying me. And I still had this dream, which was about being financially independent, self-sufficient, live a life of abundance, and just the wish to be someone doing something meaningful. I sat with my teachers and with friends loving, guiding friends and teachers. And what I found was my biggest obstacle was me. How I was seeing myself as swinging between two ends of a spectrum and not seeing that I was rebelling and resisting something. The message that kept coming from everyone was grow your business, grow your business. And the only thing that kept coming up from my heart was, I want to grow myself. And for me, that was a revelation, that that's what I wanted. That was my dream. Everything else was just a way for me to experience this, for me to experience my difference, for me to be the psychotherapist who designs skirts, or the counselor who whirled with skirts. And I realized that it was not about definitions. It was also not about being someone or doing something and being identified with that. I was a person who came from a family where for 3 generations, no one had done business. People had jobs, secure, regular jobs, and they worked and they were brilliant and they had lives. And here I was wanting to be so different from what it meant to be part of that system, which was not a bad or a good system. It was just something that was different from what was emerging from me. So yes, I was my own obstacle. Many feelings came up. And when I saw, I just opened up and the world opened up for me. 17 years later, here I am with you all, very eager to share the tools and experiences that I have received as grace from above and from all of the people that I have worked with. And with that, I turn you over to Sushila, who's going to take you into the next step of this journey. Thank you.
Thank you, Kamal. Sushila is going to be in our course talking about having conversations, learning to listen deeply. And in this presentation, the invitation is to listen deeply to yourself. You've listened and heard your dream, and it may have been there a long time. You've heard that the things that would stop or sabotage you. So here is what you would want for your life. Whirling skirts, beautiful skirts as a psychotherapist. And here, over here, is like, oh, this is what you have to do to be successful, or you're not enough. You have to learn more. What you have isn't valuable. That's the kind of conversation that we have sometimes with ourselves. So what does that mean to what we have to share with you today? So Beta, I'm going to turn the time over to you.
Hi, my name is Bita Diamande. I am going to share my screen with you real quick. Okay, so I am very excited to be here with you today to introduce the Women Remaking the World program, brought to you by the Women's Grassroots Congress and the Sacred Ground Collective. A year ago, the leaders of the Women's Grassroots Congress brought a group of women together to carry the torch forward. The values had been set in 2012, and it was time to reach women who were ready to be agents of change and remake this world. We put our heads together and we reached out to many women who provided feedback on what was holding them back and resources they were seeking to make their dreams a reality. We realized that many of us have been, or still are, playing on society's game board. What were the rules? Who wrote them? And what role did we play? Many of these answers help to explain why we always felt stuck, why we had fear of failure, why we lacked belief in ourselves, why we didn't feel honored and supported, and why we always felt constrained by time, resources, and money. It seemed the game board wasn't based on our values. We decided to reframe the challenge and asked ourselves, what if we could design our own board and play by our own rules? We are no longer wishing our world differently. We are deliberately forming it based on our collective values, and for that, we need to reclaim ownership of our game boards. We, the organizers of the Women Remaking the World program, believe that the answers to our current world issues lie within each and every one of us. In this time when systems seem to be breaking down, women have a strong leadership role to play to ensure that we work towards creating families, communities, and a world that is based on the collective values that we all cherish. We decided it was time for us women to reclaim our role in redefining our communities and living our lives in alignment with our heart mission. By doing so, we will be remaking the world, one person at a time. And in doing so, will be the spark to allow those in our communities to also step into their alignment. The question isn't so much, can I really make my dream a reality? Or who would I benefit if I stepped into my sacred activism and executed my dream projects and goals? The question is now, who will miss out if I never do? We united a diverse pool of teachers to build an integrated, holistic program, looking to give practical tools and training to move us from surviving to thriving. Having a dream isn't enough. So we decided to put a program together to actualize it. We asked ourselves, what would we need to help us women redesign our game boards and implement the activities that are close to our hearts, that the world so desperately needs? What tools would we need to make this dream a reality, understanding that we already have the gifts that are waiting to come forth? We understood that we needed new solutions for a new world. We were aware that there were gaps keeping women from achieving their goals, and we were looking to create new dynamics that were different and empowering. As you can see, our teachers are diverse in age, expertise, and nationality. We brought together our diversity of life experiences and know-how to put together this 9-week program with the aim of providing a well-rounded toolkit that is both practical and results-oriented. The curriculum starts with gaining alignment on your heart's desires and values. There is nothing more magical than aligned action. The program then launches into workshops to design your game board, understanding the creative process and where you will feel resistance, and providing you with tools to use when you are triggered or entering into self-sabotage and doubt mode. We then continue with a host of workshops and courses to provide tools and resources for heart-centered leadership, spiritual healing, management, and creative tools. So what can you expect from this program? You can expect continuity. We are here for the long term, and we are community focused. There is the integration of the spiritual with the physical part of our lives. There is the healing of old trauma that may come up. There is the support needed to cultivate ideas to put into action. There is collaboration. We believe in getting behind a person and valuing her as a leader of change. There is the emphasis of a woman's role to design and put a plan in place to take our gifts forward. There is inspiration to have the support to pull this all together. Our intentions for the participants of this program is to gain wisdom so that we may see all things clearly. The wisdom to ripen in us so we know all from within. The transforming of inner knowing into right action so we may do what must be done. And lastly, right action to reap the harvest so we may enjoy the fruits of our activities. Now, how is this different from other programs? Firstly, it is rooted in our shared collective values. We offer a new set of tools to reclaim our voice, space, and lives. The curriculum is balanced between alignment of heart and mind, spiritual and material teachings. It is holistic and covers leadership, spirituality and healing, management, and creative tools. It is results-oriented, pragmatic, and can be put into action right away. We provide ongoing support and community during and after the course. And lastly, we offer diversity in subject materials and teachers. We are not here to sell this program today. This is an invitation to join us in remaking the world. And with this, I would like to hand this over to our wise woman and sacred activist, Marilyn Nyborg.
Marilyn, you'll need to unmute. Part of our technology.
Mute myself, sorry. Thank you, Bea. I am the elder on the team, although there are a few others. I am the one with the longest view, the long tooth, is that what they say? And I've experienced a lot of the major impacts on our world over the years. I became an activist in my 30s, jumping wildly into the issue of the time, which was, as we called it then, civil rights. And for the next 8 years or so, I have to say, it has been the most, it was and is the most profound change that I had experienced and has stayed with me. And it certainly has impacted life. Dr. King did such incredible work. Next came the Oklahoma bombings, where a young white guy blew up a building, taking out innocent people and children. And all of a sudden, America stood and realized that we were vulnerable. We were vulnerable. And then, of course, we went to 9/11, and that changed everybody's life in our country. We were beyond vulnerable. Now we were unsafe. Now we find ourselves at the corner of a pandemic and systematic racism. And suddenly, the whole world got sent to our rooms to be quiet as we were dealing with the pandemic and to stay isolated. And so it was an amazing time for self-reflection, for really looking at our life and what we've created. And then we really face death, and that's part of this time as we are dealing with pandemic. And then, of course, the final straw, shall we say, and what was once the civil rights movement is now social justice and much more. We are really looking at what we have done to a whole group of people on the planet. And I think it was amazing, was that as I watched people take to the streets, I said to a friend, this is going to be really different. And the difference was, it wasn't just people of color demanding social justice And it was all of us. It was white people. It was all colors and all religions. And it was happening everywhere in the world. So while my heart felt shattered by what's made this happen again, it also had a strong sense of hope for the first time that this was going to be different. So, and our visionary, Sharon, as she mentioned earlier, had called together women from around the world, because we knew, all of us knew immediately that it was up to us, women. We were going to make the difference. We could do things different than has been done under male rule. So we asked ourselves, what are the tools we need, particularly entering a time where it's unknown. We haven't done this one before. We have done some of the other things that life kind of went on in the civil rights movement in spite of what we were focusing on. And life went on even after bombings. But suddenly life stopped for all of us. And what it left us with is, now what? What? We don't know what. So we asked amongst ourselves, what are the tools that we will need as women to remake this world, to re-look at our systems? And so we're going to be doing some inner work. We're going to be doing some work that will focus on your projects. We're going to look at art and how that fits into your communication, filmmaking, and communications itself. And with these tools, I really am excited to say I get to see you. And we're going to talk about sacred activism. And what does that really mean? Now, I want to work with the classes you've taken and say, now, how are we going to take this out into the world? So many women have come to me in the past and they've said, you know, I do not have time. And I just don't know what one woman can do anyway. So I can't do this activism thing. So here's my story, a story. And that is a few months ago, we decided to change banks. And that in itself was our first action item because we didn't care for the policies of the bank we were in. It's a big national bank. And we went to a local credit union. And when I walked in, it was very evident to me that it was actually all women, almost all women, and white women. And so when I talked to the manager, I asked, what is your policy on diversity? I mean, from what I see, where's your stand here? And she looked a little surprised and she said, you know, we do have a woman of color in training now, should be here in a couple of weeks. And she said, and I love this piece, she said, we have a man who's a teller who's gay. I thought, well, good start. A little diversity is out there already. And so what happened here is suddenly she knows a client is interested and wants to see a different face out there. And so as other people might even ask the same thing, she's probably going to remember that. It's like planting a seed and just beginning to make the change. And the thing about doing that, it's one of the ways we can begin to integrate action, sacred action, into our lives, into our worlds. We don't just have to wait to give a one-time donation or go to a few meetings. We can do this almost every day in our lives. If we simply say what we see, we don't have to be angry about it. We don't have to be upset, but say what we are seeing. And it's like if you went to a grocery store and you said, I'd really like to see more organic fruit here. And they hear that from a few people, we're going to see organic fruit. So that's the theory here, that as we begin to ask for it, they're going to respond. And let's see. There's a lot of things that we can look at also, and depending on your time and your energy and your finances. So I'm really excited to have you all join us again in learning about sacred activism and its application using all of these wonderful tools that you will have. Thank you. Now I'd like to introduce Emma McKenzie, who is the co-director of the Academy and also one of our teachers. Thank you.
Thank you, Marilyn, and thank you, everyone else. I'm just so delighted to know that you are watching this video, that you are interested in our program, and that you are gathering this beautiful information and experiences from our teachers who are here with you today. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the practicalities. And so I'm going to share my screen with you. So right now we're exploring what are the possibilities for you in taking this class, taking this 9-week program. And we're going to start off talking about your investment. Because I'm sure that you are wondering, well, yeah, this sounds great, and how much is it going to cost me? And I want you to shift your attention away from cost and into investment, because you are investing not just your money, but you're investing your time, you're investing your effort, you are investing your heart. So we have developed 3 levels of tuition because we want as many women who as possible to participate in the program. We have the flowering level at $330, the budding level at $230, and the seedling level at $130. However, no one's going to be turned away. You can apply for a payment plan, and you can also apply for a partial or full scholarship. And you can apply for those at the Sacred Ground Academy Gmail account. We also want to encourage anyone who is able to support our Sister Scholarship Fund by contributing to it. So let's think a little bit more about investment. I want you to know that all of us who are involved with Women Remaking the World, we are dedicated to creating new economies. The economy that we are living in right now was never designed for anyone to flourish, and especially for women. And what we want to do is create new economies in which everyone flourishes. So we are taking back through this program our authority and our power to determine the values that we live in and to create the systems that reflect our values. Nothing could be more important. As I said, each of us is making an investment in the program. Today, it's time and energy. When you participate in the program, you'll be investing money. And we all know from experience that the ideas that come to you are going to be the first return on your investment. Those ideas are the seeds that you're going to learn to grow and harvest in Women Remaking the World. The classes begin on Wednesday, July 8th. They're going to meet on Wednesdays and Sundays over 9 weeks. The Wednesday classes will start at 10 a.m. Pacific time, and the Sunday classes will begin at 7 p.m. Pacific time. We want to make the classes as available as possible to women in all over the world in different time zones. Registration is really simple. You're going to visit the Sacred Ground Academy website. You're going to choose your tuition level and click on the Buy Now PayPal button. I want you to be sure that we have your correct email address, because once we receive your payment, we will email you with a link to the dedicated Zoom room that we will use for all class meetings. And we will send you a link to register on the Kajabi site to see replays of the videos and also for class materials. Women Remaking the World is part of a much larger group of experiences and circles and gatherings. And I want you to know that you will be a part of these communities in whatever way that you choose to enter into. So we will be setting up a Zoom coffee chat room for all of the members of this program so that you can go in anytime, email your fellow students and have a conversation about what you're thinking about from the classes. We are going to set up sister circles for the women who are involved in this so that once the program is over, you're going to take this into the future. This is not just an experience that you have and then you're gone. This is going to be a continuing experience in your life. We'll also be having a Facebook page, and you'll get links to all of these after you register. contact information is super easy. You can look at more information on the program and register at sacredgroundacademy.org. You can email us at sacredgroundacademy@gmail.com. And if you're interested in any other of our programs, you can look at sacredgroundcollective.org. So after the closing, normally during a program, we would stay after and answer any questions that you might have. What I'm going to encourage you to do is after you watch this video, if you do have questions, send us an email. We will get back to you. And we are so grateful that you were willing to take your time and sit here and be present with this video and learn more about our program. And so what I'm going to do now is to share a video with you that was created by two of the women who are involved in our program, Kelly Lair and Carrie Hillary. And I just want you to take a breath, settle into yourself. There's a lot that you have taken in over the course of this video. Let it integrate, let it settle, and really consider how this could be an amazing experience for you.
Here we are, knowing we can change the world. Right here, right now, time for our voices to be heard. On in on, we are opening new doors. Clearly we see just what a woman's strength is for. Women rising, remaking the world. We are rising, awakening the world. Side by side, standing strong, our visions clear. Using our power, we will no longer live in fear. Women rising, remaking the world.
Sitting in that presentation and the love of this circle and the love that this circle has, not just for each other, but for you and for our families and for our world. And as we bring this presentation to a close, just imagine that energy of love, of change, of calm, of new, just filling the world, raining down on all that is going on to dissolve what has entrapped us, to dissolve that which does not serve us, and the energy into the roots of the values that will bring forth plants, ideas, systems, cultures. Our world will be remade. Thank you for being with us.